we go. Wellness number 5. Look for the others on the site if you have missed them. So wellness number 5 is about grounding. Now there's a kind of a swell of people who are more into grounding, and there's a little more research coming out about it. And some people who are uber scientific will say, whoa, that doesn't work. But I'm just sharing with you my personal experience of the difference it makes to ground yourself. Many years ago, my wonderful cousin, who had a fabulous garden, said to me one day when I was like, and all stressed, she said, oh, go out in the garden and stay there until you feel better. Well, I laughed when she said it, which made me feel better, but I did it. And ever since then, whenever I feel stressed and uptight or weird or like strange energy or just something's not right, and I'm somewhere where I stop and I go out barefoot on the grass or the soil and I ground myself. So when I did a lot of flying between Australia and America, I would land in LA and I'd inevitably have a 3 or 4 hour wait. So I would go out into LAX and I would try to find a patch of soil. And I have to tell you, it's not easy in LAX. There's a few places where there's this tree desperately trying to grow in amongst the concrete, and there's a little square of soil around it. And I don't know what's been in that soil, but my concept of grounding after a long flight or any kind of time is more important than potentially what's in the soil. So of course I would check the soil to make sure there was no dog poo or anything else like that. And I would kind of hang around the tree with my feet on the ground. Mind you, having your feet on the cement as well helps, but it's being barefoot that matters. And it's better to be on the soil or the grass, but cement is better than nothing because the cement is on the soil and it's made up of earthy things. So when you ground yourself, there are electrons in nature that we absorb through our skin. And it helps balance things out. And although I can't quote to you hardcore science that says, yes, go out and stand barefoot on the grass and you will magically have these 47 metabolic things happen that will transform you, I know from my experience, it makes a huge difference. And just yesterday, I don't know, there was some weird energy going on and I was feeling so overwhelmed and I couldn't get myself out of it. I tried a lot of things and I thought, that's it, I'm going to the beach. And luckily I can go to the beach because I'm living in Virginia Beach. And I am maybe 20 minutes away. So I jumped in the car, went to the beach, swam, because when I get in the water, I find everything changes. And I went for a long walk, barefoot, obviously, on the beach. And I came home and my entire perspective had shifted. I didn't feel overwhelmed. I didn't feel weird. I didn't feel stressed. I just got on with the rest of my day. And so where you can, make sure that every day you try to get outside. I don't know, make it a ritual with your kids at the end of the workday. If it's not snowing, okay, because I know there are going to be people who say, what if it's snowing? And what if it's like evil ground or something? There are always exceptions. But where you can, go out barefoot and ground yourself for a while. Play with the kids on the grass. Play with the kids on the soil. Go to a park, not the dog park. Make sure it's an area where the dogs don't, do their thing. And just ground yourself and notice how much better you feel. It makes a huge difference. When you go on a picnic, sit on the blanket, put your food on the blanket so the ants don't eat everything, but make sure that you've got bare feet and your feet are on the grass because you'll be grounding while you're having a lovely time having a picnic. And for those of you who want to investigate it a bit further, I actually have a grounding sheet on my bed. So you can buy grounding sheets and put them on your bed to help kind of counteract some of the 5G electromagnetic frequencies that are around us all the time. And you can buy a meter to test it. So I did it just the other day. I tested because I spilled something on my sheet and I thought, oh, I hope that hasn't spoiled my grounding sheet. And so you plug one end into the socket and you hang on to the other end and then you put your hand on the grounding sheet and you can see the volts diminish. I think they're called volts. I'm not that scientific or technical, but you can see it drops from 5 point something, which is me in the normal environment, if I'm on the bed without the earthing mat. And then I put the earthing mat on and I test it and it drops to point something. So for me, that's proof that it makes a real difference. So have a look at that. Grounding sheets, and go ground yourself as much as you can outside, barefoot, on the grass, on the beach, on anywhere that's natural. See ya. Have fun doing it, by the way. Everything I say to do, make sure you have fun doing it, because that adds a whole new dimension to it.
Always look on the bright side of life.